Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us for this Healthy Aging Workshop, Ways to Wellbeing. This is an introduction into a bigger project through the Digital Innovation Education Hub, which is funded through the Community Renewal Fund project at from Council. The agenda today is me. I'm Jamie Sheridan, giving up the talk about myself, an introduction to the aging curve concept that we're developing, and then we've also the main event is Lynn Coulsting, who's an occupational therapist, very experienced, and is going to be talking on introduction to ways to well-being. There is a PDF of a workbook that you can use, and I've sent information out about that first, and we can reshare again when if needed. The Digital Innovation Education Hub, we're part of the consortium. There's this group here, so we're being supported by Stafford University. There's a project called My Health Kit, developing health products which are being given out to people, which are really interesting. Wavemaker is the organisation. Framescape is a gaming platform developer, and Straightsline, which is my company, and we're involved as this consortium. My business is we're looking at two sides of this. One is Life Liberated, and the other is the aging curve for healthy aging. And it's all about, this isn't just about my granddad, but my granddad's a good example of where we're coming from. He was 105, born in 1915. He passed away in just a couple of years ago, but he lived on his own till he was 102. Very healthy lifestyle, had a bit of a second wind at 94, and very much a life well lived. So he's my inspiration. And he fits into a concept called the 100-Year Life, which is a book written by two economists, actually, Linda Grattan and Andrew Scott, are professors at London School of Economics. And that 100-year life is about us all living to 100 and needing to change the way we live, change the way we work, things like that. So it's a really interesting concept, and it's very much part of the UK government's healthy aging grand challenge, is based on the 100-year life. So what we're trying to do is look at proactive healthcare to prolong working life and enable healthy activity. We're offering innovative traditional product technology and services. And we say we're targeted to 50 to 75-year-olds in the third quartile of this 100-year life. We have clinical academic industry partners. We're making progress to launch first phase, launch in January 2022, and hopefully have a physical space by September 2022. There's two sides to it. One is private retail, so the Healthy Aging Superstore, and then the second is this project, which is community-based social impact. Okay. Lots of exciting components, and this workshop is one of those. But there's me. My background's orthotics and prosthetics, rehabilitation, a lot of podiatry, so I've solved a lot of insoles, and background in innovation, technology development. I've worked on a frailty and aging project, and we actually at EIT, which European Institute of Innovation and Technology, and that was frailty. So that was looking at how you can prevent frailty, postpone frailty. I do a lot with strategy and vision, commercialization, and I had a big project postponed in May 2020, which has given time to develop the aging curve concept. Here's some of our teams. Lynn's there on the right hand side. As OT, we've got a podiatrist, Gareth, Lynn who's a psychotherapist, Soren who's a fitness coach, and Rod who's on marketing guru, if you like. So that's sort of the team that we're developing. And then background is frailty. So I'm coming from frailty as in that major cost burden for the NHS, as people get older, you're looking at issues such as comorbidity, such as diabetes, heart disease, and frailty can be reversed. That's the idea. Frailty can be reversed with exercise, but particularly if you start further back, 40, 45. Clinical issues, government pressures, and the social issues of people living with frailty. Is it better to keep fit and healthy? And Lynn's talk will be about ways to well-being and those ideas of setting goals. And there's a model for frailty, aging, frailty diseases. That's pretty negative. We're trying to be a lot more positive. So this is the project I worked on with the IT Health. which was actually set a platform to monitor people health. Do you stand? Do you lose your grip strength? Do you shrink? They're all things which can be changed, and it's much better to start a lot earlier and understand, take control of your health and well-being. So this is a frailty test, a sort of set of frailty tests. Shrinking, you lose strength, you lose muscle, you lose grip strength, exhaustion, low activity, and slowed walking speed. And why promote healthy aging? Because aging is malleable. You can change the way that your healthy behaviours can prevent chronic conditions, which is Professor Sarah Harper in Oxford came up about a couple of years ago. Stressors such as retirement-bereavement disease, they sort of put pressure on where if exercise, social networks, economic security can all protect against damage. And here's a sort of where we're looking to aim at. So that target market. So perhaps some people with health problems, they're aware of aging issues, they want to remain active as a couple, with friends, for work, for their family, or just for yourself. And there's lots of different issues around aging, lots of positive bits and pieces. So do you look at demographics or generation bands such as baby boomers, or are we in the autumn of life, going back to my granddad, a life well lived? And so that's me me talking about what we are, what the idea of the concept is. That's what we're trying to do. And over the next few months until the end of September, we'll be doing a series of talks in Stoke, particularly in Stoke around and on webinars like this, developing the concept really, and hopefully people will engage and get benefit from what we're doing. So I'm now going to pass over to Lynn.
So I'd like you to welcome you to the second part of this introduction to ways to wellbeing. So here we'll gain an insight into improving your health and wellbeing now. Like Jamie says, it's important to tackle the ways to wellbeing and improve your wellbeing earlier rather than wait till you're older, so you can live life liberated, like Jamie suggested. Very powerful. So this workshop is also designed to be interactive as you can through Zoom. And there's a workbook, like Jamie said. Hopefully you've had a chance to download it. I'd really invite you to use it and work with us on this wellbeing talk, because the more you put in, basically, the more you'll benefit now and in the future. So this is a local view. I'm very lucky where I live, looking at Snowdon from Chimpadam. Okay, so who am I? Like Jamie says, I'm an occupational therapist. I have worked for many years in the NHS, specialising in both physical and psychological fields. During that time, I actually also went on to train as a counsellor and a psychotherapist. In 2008, I moved into the private sector, specialising in the field of vocational rehabilitation, and that's about health and work, and gained an MSc in this field. Presently, I have my own company, Inspired Health, and I do continue working in the field of health and work, but I also work with a community charity and Jamie on various health and wellbeing projects. So that's me. So an overview, what we're going to do. So we're going to start off by looking at why wellbeing. Okay, so I'm going to briefly explore that, but more importantly, I'm going to explore what wellbeing means to you and how that can help you in the future. And then go on to look at factors that can affect your well-being. And this is really important, being aware of those things that kind of can knock the well-being off balance. And look at how you can be more aware of that. And then we'll go on to look at the more positive things. The New Economics Forum talks about 5 ways to well-being, which is a government initiative. So I'll talk a bit more about that. And then we'll look at how you can use this awareness to improve your own health in the areas they suggest. Then I'm going to invite you to pick one wellbeing goal, a small goal, and look at making it smart. And I'll talk more about that later on, to help you achieve the goals that you want to set. And at the end, I'm going to look at, well, what's next? So we'll take questions at the end, and I invite you to only sort of use the question time at the end rather than during the workshop. But also then I'll pass you back to Jamie and he'll talk more about the workshops that are coming up. So, okay, why well-being? Yes, why well-being? So as Ms. Davies in Psychology Today says, well-being is the experience of health, happiness, and prosperity. It includes having a really good mental health, high life satisfaction, and a sense of meaning or purpose, and the ability to manage stress. And more generally, it's just a feeling of being well. Surprisingly, the idea of well-being and its maintaining a sense of well-being has been around for centuries. Well-being, people said, can be linked to a number of different benefits, including improved physical and mental health, faster recovery times from illness, higher educational attainment, greater productivity, and an overall healthier lifestyle. So it's really important. Okay, this is a view from Anglesey, not far from me, nearer Jamie actually, from Newborough Beach, looking across towards the Snowdonia mountain range. A very passionate place of mine, Newborough. Okay, so let's come back to well-being. In order for you to improve your own well-being, I believe it's really important for you to be aware of what well-being means to you and the well-being that you would like to realistically achieve now or in the future. And to accomplish this, I'd like to take you on a little exploration journey. So I'd like to invite you to get comfortable. And I'd like you to close your eyes and get really, really comfortable in your chair whilst we go on this well-being journey. Yes, really, really comfortable. That's right. And start to feel where your body touches the chair and your feet touches the floor. And as you do, you'll feel your body relaxing more and more. That's right. More and more. Now I'd like you to bring to mind or imagine a picture of what well-being means to you. A picture of the well-being that you could realistically achieve or like to achieve. I invite you to make a picture of it in your mind's eye. This can be an impression of what you see, hear, or feel, or what you're thinking about. The picture could be many different kinds of things. Maybe you need to be in a particular place, or with people, or even holding something. Make the picture as specific and clear as possible, so you know when you've achieved your well-being goal. Yes, that's right. Now, we all imagine in different ways. So what you're imagining now is perfectly fine for you right now. Even if your picture is not clear, that's okay too. Now I'd like you to step into the picture and make sure you're looking through your own eyes. That's right. See what you're going to see when you reach your well-being goal, and hear what you're going to hear, and feel what you're going to feel when you get there. And there may be tastes and smells too. That's right. Feel the most compelling or real positive feelings that you will have when you've achieved your well-being goal. Now let's make your desired well-being goal even more achievable by amping it up. So make sure you're still looking through your own eyes and adjust your picture for the most positive feelings for the most compelling and most real feelings that you can. That's right. And we're now going to make it even more compelling. So I'd like you to adjust the colour, make it rich and colourful. Does that make it feel more real? If not, just tone it down a bit if you need to. What's the most realistic colour that makes your picture the most compelling? And adjust your picture to that. Now adjust the brightness up and down so it feels real, the most real to you. And then imagine you have a lens, a camera lens, and you can zoom in and out, and you can make your picture really near or really far away. So adjust your picture to make it the most compelling. Now take the focus, make it really sharp, or even defocus it where it becomes nice and soft. Notice what makes it most real and adjust it to make it the most realistic and compelling. Now, is your picture a movie or is it still? Again, adjust the picture to make it the most compelling. Are there any sounds or noises or voices around you or your own inner voice? If there are sounds, try making them louder or quieter to make them the most compelling. Now I know you have feelings, so really, really increase the intensity of the positive feelings of your picture. Make it more and more intense. That's right. Imagine you have a dial from 0 to 10. Turn those feelings up on that dial as high as you can to make the picture more intense and real. Turn the feelings up for a fuller, richer feel to make the picture most compelling. So now let's just energize this picture with 4 deep breaths. Are you ready? Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and blow all the energy from your breath into your picture. That's right. Now breath number 2. Breathe in and out, blowing all the energy into that picture. Now number 3. Breathe in and out. And 4. Breathe in and out. Now really feel the energy of your picture. Really feel it. Really breathe that energy into your body. Now, I'd like you to step out of the picture so you're watching yourself in the picture. And then take your picture, make it a bit smaller maybe, and put it under your arm or in your pocket, or just hold it in your hand. And then just imagine yourself floating up in the air and over to a point in the future when you know you will have achieved this desired well-being goal. Just float into the future to the point you know you will have achieved this desired well-being goal. And then now let go of that picture and let it float down, and see it float down, right down into that point in the future when you know it will have been achieved. see it float into that future and see it integrate itself into that future. Now notice the events between now and then. Notice they change. Notice and feel that change or ripple. Notice they reintegrate or evaluate themselves to totally support the integration of your desired well-being goal. When you're ready, when your goal has been integrated into the future, I'd like you to just start floating back to now. Come all the way back to now. And when you've reached now, float down into your body and then into the room. Feel your body against the chair and your feet on the floor. And open your eyes. And when you're ready, come back into the room. So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed your journey and have a clear picture of well-being, what well-being means to you, and the well-being goal you'd like to achieve. And now I would like to invite you to record your thoughts in your workbook about what your well-being goal means to you and what it feels like, what you can hear, what you can see, and what you can think to yourself whilst you're there. So now you know you'll achieve your well-being goal. So I'll just give you a couple of minutes to write down your desired well-being goal in your workbook. Okay, hope you've had time to record your thoughts around your well-being goal. So now I'd like to go on and ask you to consider some factors that could affect your well-being. Whilst I do, I'd invite you to think if any of these factors are actually affecting your well-being now, or have done in the past, or have the potential to in the future. Because knowing these factors helps you be more resilient against them and help you maintain your well-being in the now. So What Work Centre for Wellbeing have done research into this area. And this picture shows some of the main focus of the factors they believe are important. And these factors include sort of our physical and mental health, our relationships, our work, our income, the activities we take part in, our environment, our autonomy, participation and control, and a balance of pleasure and purpose. The What Work Centre for Wellbeing do acknowledge, though, that some of these factors are more important to our well-being than others. And it's not just about the outside influences. It's also about how these factors make us feel on the inside. That's just as important, if not more important. And very important to understand these factors when you're working towards well-being. and a balance is important when you're working towards well-being. However, it's also important to remember that well-being is individual, and we all have different backgrounds, experiences, personal circumstances, which impact our well-being. And also well-being is dynamic and ever-changing. So we need that resilience to support our well-being. So are any of these factors affecting you now? Just record them in your workbook as we discuss this a little more. So I do apologise for bringing up the COVID pandemic. I think we've heard enough about it over the last 2 years. However, it is a very important factor that affects our well-being. And it's important to acknowledge, like what works for well-being, what works Centre for Wellbeing said, the current coronavirus pandemic is an exceptional event that has led to an immediate and potential long-lasting impact on people's well-being. And it certainly has. Whilst this impact might differ for each of us, it probably has affected every area of your life, including what kind of activities you do, when you see friends, your family, as well as your plans for the future. Therefore, in this present climate, maximising and maintaining your well-being to improve your resilience for the future is now more important than ever. So I'll give you a few minutes to consider these factors and what factors are affecting your well-being or holding your well-being back now, and what you could do to help you overcome them. And I'd like you to record that in your workbook. And then we can go on to look at some positive things you can do to improve your overall well-being. And whilst you do, I'm going to go back a slide to give you those cues. Okay, let's move forward. So now you have explored what well-being means for you and gained an awareness about the well-being you'd like to achieve and the factors that could affect it. I'd like you to share with you the 5 ways to well-being. And these are connect, give, be active, keep learning, take notice, or be curious. This was researched and developed by the New Economics Foundation on the bequest of the government. It was aimed at finding a strategy that could be used to improve the well-being of the country, cities, communities, and individuals, and that's you. Their research found that these 5 ways to well-being, especially if done daily, could help to increase and maintain your overall wellness. This in turn helps to protect you from both mental and physical health issues. It helps you to look forward to the future and enjoy life liberated. And we'll talk about these 5 ways to well-being in more detail in a minute. And whilst I do discuss them, I'd invite you to consider how you could improve your well-being in each of these areas and record your thoughts in your workbook and allow you a little time as we go along. So the first of the 5 ways to well-being is connect. And our connection to others is part of who we are as human beings, because we're social animals. Whilst I do recognise some people prefer their own company, and that's fine, but we all still need some connection to others to survive and thrive. And this connection I'm talking about is not just a family network, but it's also about developing and nurturing and developing friendship networks and more general social networks. They're really important too. The New Economics Foundations say that it's all about connecting with the people around you, with family, friends, colleagues, neighbours, at home, at work, in school, or your local community. Think of these things as the cornerstones of your life and invest time in developing them. Building these connections will support and enrich you every day. This area is very important and should not be underestimated or undervalued. It helps you increase your resilience to the challenges and losses in your life. Connection to others will also help you combat loneliness, both now and in the future. Over the last couple of years, our connection to others has been and still can be challenging. And this has markedly increased the mental health challenges and loneliness of people of all ages. Over the last few years, even the way people communicate has changed. More people are using online platforms like this to connect with friends and family. But there's nothing like face-to-face connection to support your well-being. So important. So now I'd like you to consider, and I'll give you a minute to record your thoughts on what connect means to you and what ways you could realistically increase your connection to others. And record your thoughts in your workbook. Be creative with your ideas. They can include taking up or rejoining activities, hobby groups, social clubs, connecting with neighbours, reaching out to friends you have not seen for ages. So I'll give you a minute to record your thoughts in this area and how you could expand that connection to others to help you maintain your well-being. Okay, so let's move on to the second of the 5 ways to well-being. So seeing yourself and your happiness linked to the wider community can be incredibly rewarding and creates connections with the people around you, the benefits of which we've already discussed. The New Economics Foundation suggests do something nice for a friend or a stranger. Thank someone, smile, volunteer your time, join a community group. look out as well as in. So I'd like to give you a minute to ponder and record in your workbook what give means to you and what ways you could realistically increase your scope to give to others. Consider random acts of kindness. They go such a long way to bring a smile to someone's face. Other ideas could include supporting a neighbour, family or friend, or even older people, especially those who feel lonely at this time. A little chat can really brighten their day. Volunteering is a fabulous way to increase your purpose in life, gain job satisfaction, whilst helping others and developing friendships in the process. So I'll give you a minute to consider and write in your work what give means for you and how you can include that in your activities that you do. I'll just ponder. Okay, so the third of these ways to well-being is be active. Now, the New Economics Foundation state that finding a way to be active that suits you and can be sustained is critical. So experiment, discover physical activity that you enjoy and suit your level of ability and fitness and can be maintained over time. Most importantly, exercise helps to make you feel good. This is due to the dopamine release, which I call the feel-good factor. Being active is one of the key activities in helping improve your mental as well as your physical health. When your body is physically fit, it helps protect you against chronic health conditions like diabetes, heart attacks and strokes, and also helps guard you against the aging process and enables you to live life liberated. So I'd like you to consider, what does be active mean to you? And how can you realistically increase those activity levels? Consider what you do now. Could you increase it? Consider what you've done in the past that you could be interested in trying again. Consider what you've always fancied doing but never tried. Most people consider being active as going to the gym, exercise class, walking, running, riding a bike, and they're all very, very important. However, you can also include anything active, like swimming, dancing, gardening. Be creative. My passion is horse trail riding through the forests and the mountains of North Wales. Here's me on my horse Domino, riding through our local wood with a friend who's taking my picture. Thought it was a good picture. One of the workshops Jamie will be introducing shortly will focus on this area in more detail. So I'll give you a minute to consider and write down and record in your workbook What does be active mean to you? What are you doing now? And how could you increase that to help your well-being? I'll give you a minute. Okay, so let's move on to the fourth in the ways to well-being. Research, and that's keep learning. Research has shown that keeping your brain active helps you to improve your focus, your concentration, and your memory. Keeps your brain active through the years and helps you guard against memory decline. And learning is not just about reading books or going on courses. As the New Economic Foundation say, try something new, rediscover an old interest, take on a different responsibility at work, fix a bike, learn to play an instrument, or how to cook your favourite food. Set yourself a challenge you'll enjoy achieving. Very important. Learning new things will also help you feel more confident, as well as being fun. Learning can also help you connect with others and make new friendships, and we've talked about how important that is. Lucy Stevens also suggests that learning something new or improving a skill that you already have is a way of shutting out the outside world for you and giving you a sense of achievement. So, what does keep learning mean to you? What learning are you already doing? What learning would you like to do? So I'd like you to think about recording that in your workbook whilst you have a think about it. So what's your passion? What do you enjoy? Remember, like the New Economics Foundation suggests, learning does not just have to be class-based. It can be about gardening, new hobbies, learning more about the environment where you live, a new volunteering role job, or changing routine. I invite you to think outside the box. And I'll give you a minute to record your thoughts in your work. Okay, let's move on to the fifth, last of the ways to well-being. Just take notice. So some people think this is the hardest to get your head around. So what is taking notice? Well, the New Economic Foundation say, be curious, catch a sight of the beautiful, remark on the unusual, notice the changing seasons, savor the moment. Whether you're walking to work, eating lunch, or talking to friends, be aware of the world around you and what you're feeling. Reflecting on your experiences will help you appreciate what matters to you. This is also considered mindfulness. And mindfulness research does show this. Mindfulness done regularly will increase your mental performance, concentration, focus, and memory. It allows your mind to rest, rejuvenate, and recover, increasing your mental resilience to challenges and advancing age. Therefore, it is well worth taking the time out for mindfulness practice. Personally, I believe that mindfulness is for the mind, what exercise is for the body, just as important. And both physical and mental techniques need time to build skills. For instance, you wouldn't expect to ride a bike down a busy road without practice and possibly falling off a few times first. It's the same with mindfulness. Allow yourself time to practice and improve your skill in focusing and being in the now. It's probably a lifelong journey. So I think this is a beautiful picture. This is one of my plants in my greenhouse. My dad collected a seed or a plant from the Mediterranean many, many moons ago, and he grew it on. It's really pretty. So I take notice of it and took a picture. So I'd like to give you a minute to consider what taking notice and being mindful means to you. What are you doing at the moment in this area? And how could you increase your awareness and curiosity and practice mindfulness? Where would be a good place for you to start? I invite you to ponder for a minute and record your thoughts in your workbook. So, what comes to mind when I say mindfulness? Do you conjure up someone sitting cross-legged on the floor with their eyes closed, trying to empty their mind and not moving for hours? Well, that's brilliant and it works for some people. But you'd be glad to hear, whilst it may work for these people, there are many, many ways to practice mindfulness. In fact, the journey you took earlier to explore what well-being means for you and what your overall well-being goal was is actually a mindfulness technique. So what forms can mindfulness take? Well, mindfulness is about focusing more fully on what you are experiencing in the moment. That is, taking notice and being curious. Mindful techniques can include physical or mental relaxation of your body, breathing exercises, following a guided journey like you did earlier, listening to music. Some yoga practices have meditation attached to them and Tai Chi. And then there are meditations that are fabulous. But it also includes going for a mindful walk. And these are just a few mindfulness options. The key is being focused and being present in the moment. One of the workshops Jamie will introduce shortly will explore this area in more detail. So I invite you, I'm just going to give you a minute to think about and write in your workbook what taking notice means for you. Okay, let's move on. So, taking into consideration everything we've discussed today about well-being and your exploration of finding your overall well-being goal and the things that you can expand on in your life in the 5 ways to well-being. Now, I'd like you to consider using one of them as a well-being goal today. So we're looking at the well-being goal. I'm going to create it smart. So I'd like you to consider this well-being goal or something that would support your overall well-being. So I might ask, what is the one thing that when achieved will help you to improve your well-being the most? And then record it in your workbook. From my perspective, the 2 overarching areas are to increase your physical activity and to improve your mindfulness. And as mentioned, both of these areas will be covered in up-and-coming workshops. However, it really is important to start with knowing your present ability. Then you can work out what you need to do to increase it. For example, if you presently run, say, a mile a week, you could set a goal to increase this distance by maybe half a mile. When you think about your goal, ensure you're writing it in a positive way. That is what you want to achieve. For example, being more fit so that you can run a half marathon. Not that I'm able to do that just now, but it's an option. Rather than saying it in a negative way, that is what you don't want. For example, being less unfit. As humans, we're very quick to say what we don't want rather than what we do want. But our brains work so much better at achieving something when we're working towards a goal rather than moving away from it. So make it positive. I also recommend you pick a smaller goal. For example, how many steps you're going to increase this week, rather than a large goal, I run a half marathon by November. The reason is that when your goal is larger, it's very important to set smaller goals along the way to help you achieve your bigger goal. Otherwise, it may not happen. So, for example, if you're going to wanted to practice mindfulness daily, but at present I'm not practicing at all. Initially, you could set a smaller goal of, say, 10 minutes practice 3 times a week, or even once a week, or whatever is achievable for you, and then build it up over time. So I recommend you think about picking one smaller goal. So just let you think about that and record it in your workbook just for a minute. Okay, now you've got your well-being goal. I'd like to make it smart. So why do we make it smart? Well, when setting a goal, it's important to set a goal that's realistic. Unrealistic goals set you up for failure and disappointment. And if your goal's vague, how will you know when you've achieved it? So setting smart goals will improve your chance of achieving goal success. So using this technique of SMART, this method will help you have a strategy to set an appropriate goal that is clear, easy to understand, and improves the likelihood of you succeeding. So what does SMART stand for? Well, the S stands for specific. When you're considering your wellbeing goal, it's important to be as specific as possible. This tells your brain exactly what you want to achieve. Instead of using a more vague term like a few more steps a week, let's replace it with, say, 100 more steps, or maybe 50. M is for measurable. Firstly, it's important to know where you currently are at in relation to your wellbeing goal. Then decide what is realistically achievable in the time frame. You can then make it measurable. For example, ask yourself, how many, how much, how often? This helps you know when you've achieved it. A is for achievable. Make it achievable, realistic, and reasonable. Ask yourself, do I believe this goal is attainable? Bear in mind that time plays an important part in making goals achievable. R is for relevant. Make it realistic and relevant. This helps you move towards your goal. When you think of this wellbeing goal, does it align with the person you want to become? Ask yourself, is this what I want? And is this how I want to feel when I get there? This is so important because we make decisions based on emotions and how it makes us feel inside. So T is for timely. Make it have a time limit or date. This increases your motivation towards your goal. Ask yourself, does it have a clear and specific completion date? Without a deadline, it would be like running a race without a finishing line. On the other hand, by setting a deadline, you are encouraging yourself to take action towards your goal, which will improve your chances of success, which is good. Now, I'm going to allow you a couple of minutes to consider how to make your well-being goals SMART. And I invite you to record that in your workbook. Whilst you're doing this exercise, I invite you to keep asking yourself, how will I know when I've achieved my goal? This will so really help your brain focus on making that goal achievable. I'd like to invite you to use these goal setting techniques every time you create a new goal. This really helps you to move forwards towards that overall well-being goal you set earlier. You can also check out www.goalsetting.org. It's in your handout. If you want to learn more about setting SMART goals, they have both a free goal setting template and a free basic goal setting course. So I'll give you a couple of minutes to make your goal SMART, to record it in your work. Okay, hopefully you've had enough time to create your SMART goal. So there are other things that can help goal achievement, and that's accountability, journaling, giving yourself a reward and celebrating success. Oh, this is my dog Dee. She just loves water and sticks. Here she's in her element. She's just caught that stick and achieved her goal, her form of heaven. So accountability is invaluable in motivating you to stay on track. So I invite you to recruit a friend or colleague and share how you're getting on. Journaling can also help. I would encourage you to record your progress and challenges in the journal, preferably daily. This really reinforces your willpower to continue on your journey to achieve your goal success. And it'll help you bring more of what you want to enable you to achieve your goals. Rewarding yourself for every achievement, even small ones, really improves your motivation. Try it. Help you succeed. And please remember to celebrate those big wins. Go out for a meal, treat yourself. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be, you know, taking time out to go for a walk. And then when you've achieved this one first well-being goal, I invite you to set the next one using SMART goal techniques. And just review and make sure you're on the track to your overall well-being. Okay, so what's next? So I'd like to open up for questions, and then I'll pass you back to Jane to talk about the workshops that are coming up. Thank you very much for listening. Bye now.
Thank you very much, Lynn. An awful lot to think about. I'm going to stop the recording now, so if people do have questions, we can then it's not being recorded, we can ask for those. So I'll stop those, but thank you very much indeed. And hello, everybody. Hello back. Welcome back. Do we have any questions for Lynn? I found that fascinating because we've been talking about this for quite a while, and there's a lot of thinking goes into that. As a project manager for innovation projects, I know about SMART goals, but actually applying it to myself, I'm probably not as probably not as good at that as I am trying to work with clients and whatever. Yeah, there's an awful lot to think about there, Lynn. So thank you very much indeed. I've got one question for you about the journey. Actually, at the end, bringing those things together. Have you seen people use technologies like Fitbits and things like that to monitor, like the 10,000 steps? Do people find that useful?
Yes, they do. It's invaluable. It gives you that feedback. So you know, there's so much technology. It's fabulous out there. The watches, the things you've got on your computer, loads of apps, and they help you monitor. So they help give you that motivation. It's like we talked about. It almost makes you accountable, doesn't it? So you can then tick it off, and then you can think, get to the end of the week, and you can say, I achieved my goal, and what am I going to do to celebrate that? You know, it's like, give yourself a little treat. Yeah, it does. I find it really important in every area of life. I'm working with business people as well, having those small steps and using technology to help them achieve that is really important.
Okay, that's interesting. I think I stopped playing rugby 2 years ago, and I didn't need the weight that I needed and the strength and everything else. But I must admit, I'm one of the tenets of the aging concept is strength and conditioning. Yeah. Is valuable to try and do things. So I've been going to the gym a lot, and that's sort of probably helping me with mindfulness and also living in a lovely place. So it's nice to go for walks and those things.
But don't
anybody else like to ask?
Can I just?
So go on.
Yeah, can I just reinforce though that not just exercise, because for me, mindfulness and mindfulness practice is just as important, is for the mind what exercise is for the body. And I think it's really important to remember that. A lot of people just work on exercise, but actually, and exercise is amazing for both physical and mental health, but it's really important to do the mindfulness as well.
Yeah, I suppose I link the two together quite often. I'll go if I'm because I'm working from home at the moment. You don't always get out of the house.
No.
A couple of days. So I haven't been out of the house in 2 days. We lost our dog last year, so we don't go out as much. So actually by have to go out. So we don't. So actually by going to the gym or going for a walk and pushing myself, suddenly, your head's a bit clearer. You can think about these things. I think that's important. Yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah. Would anyone else like to come in, or have we? Teresa, welcome. You hopefully you're still there, but you came in. There's a little bit of a problem getting you into it, but thanks for joining us, and hopefully everyone's found it useful. I'll probably hear back from Phil and Rod at different times anyway. So just to finish off, you can put something in the chat if you prefer, but to finish off, we're running the Community Renewal Fund project, which is this digital innovation and education hub, until the end of September now. So there's quite a few events coming up. We'll be talking about physical health and well-being, so specific talk, and with a practical fitness and nutrition with Owain, who's a sports coach, but he works particularly with old people, does a lot of work with councils, and very fit, healthy, quite dynamic young guy who's he's a very good talk at the launch last week. And then we've got Tracy, who's Lynn has mentioned, who's doing the mental health and well-being. She's got a very nice thing she does with a Vice. So you've seen the Vice thing that she did again. We did all these last week. And then we have Gareth, who's talked about diabetic foot, who's a specialist on he's a podiatrist. But actually that brings it together, the physical health, mental health, and well-being. Diabetes obviously is a metabolic illness, but it's actually something that, again, can be, the health and well-being can be addressed specifically for diabetes. And then I give a talk a bit more on age technologies and future as well. So that's everything that's together. We'll be putting out that the list as we confirm with different groups around the Stoke area. So if there are no more questions, I'm going to thank everybody for participating. And if you've got queries, then please send me an email. I'm quite happy to send information onto Lynn. Lynn, anything else particularly?
No, that's fine. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. Okay, and wish everyone have a very good weekend. It's Thursday today, isn't it? It's the end of the month, so we've got a bit of got a few projects to go back to. Thank you very much indeed, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye now.